Osprey is a risk management solution that's been designed specifically to help organisations to manage the physical risks associated with running large bank and ATM branch networks. This presentation specifically discusses the issue of how to profile fraud relating to ATM theft. So risk varies inversely with knowledge. By this we mean that thieves today are more intelligent by the way that they attack banks and attack ATMs. They are understanding the risks, and their knowledge is increasing, and so they're actually reducing the risks of being caught with the knowledge that they're creating in running this. Alternatively, we're seeing that as technology is increasing, so too is the risk that the banks are being faced with. So as new versions of technology are coming out, the banks are seeing higher levels of risk relating to ATM fraud. And fraud is a business today. It's an organised unit of skill sets. These fraudsters have business plans for profitability. They're constantly innovative. There are different types of thieves that we're seeing in the marketplace. We're seeing the innovators that are out there. They're defining new types of fraud, skimming, gas attacks, ram raids, and they're researching their topic thoroughly. They're executing this model, and the model is repeatable. So they're actually calculating their risk to avoid capture. But you also have the copycat fraudsters, the people who just see what's being executed elsewhere, and then they define their own way of going about the similar types of fraud. And because information is so easily accessible via Google, and information that the ATM owners and the ATM designers are making available, we're seeing that this fraud execution is increasing constantly. So these fraudsters, that they know which types of ATMs that they can target best in terms of how much cash they're holding or the manufacturer, and they're knowing the areas where they should be going and targeting. So typically, they would be looking at an externally facing ATM, not inside a shopping mall, and they'd be looking at the environments that they're located in. So, their proximity to parks or police stations, train stations, all of these factors that they build a profile against to determine which ATMs they're going to target. So what we need to do is we need to better understand and to be able to, in almost real time, comprehend the types of risks that we're now being faced with these types of fraud. So we need to understand the fact that our cash management needs to be changing. We need to not be necessarily refilling our ATMs at exactly the same time. We need to know the fact that the crime areas where these ATMs are being defrauded, where those areas are. We need to know employment levels, income, age distribution, and we even need to know the types of designs of the buildings where our ATMs are. So what we're talking about is the fact that the proximity of these ATMs to other facilities actually decreases risks. So if ATMs are closer to other ATMs, or ATMs are closer to police stations or train stations, generally the level of fraud is decreased in factors of risk. Whereas an ATM opposite a park increases because of the darkness, the fact that the thieves can get away a lot faster. So the whole idea around Osprey is to assist in profiling the ATMs that you have in your market or in your network to be able to determine how we can reduce the risks. So, to actually change the way by which you're managing your risk is difficult, but I seriously think that if you don't start to change, it could be more fatal for your organization in terms of the amount of fraud that you're going to see occurring. So, we see risk automation everywhere. We seem to be able to automate everything else in our organization. And, automating risk could in fact deliver the greatest risk minimization to your organization. And how do we do this? It's an evolving process. It's a process, this process we use for Osprey, just continues, and effectively what it allows you to do is firstly to consolidate all of the data that you have on ATMs into a single source of truth. By being able to bring all that data together, we're actually reducing the problems with data quality, and we're reducing the amount of time that it takes to profile the ATMs that are being targeted. And by consolidating that data and putting it into a single source of truth, we're actually able to make better decisions faster. We're able to profile exactly what is going on. Once we've consolidated that data, then we can start profiling the types of attacks that we have. So we can start to look at BAM raids, RAM raids, skimming, graffiti, etc. And once we've determined what the profile of the fraud is, we can just start looking at the types of things that the fraudsters are looking at. This example here is a BAM attack that occurred in Australia. It's a very crude method of theft, and yet it's still, generated around $500,000 potentially to the thieves that blew up this ATM. But it's not just the cost of the cash; it's the cost of repairing the building, the cost of replacing the ATM, and it can lead into millions of dollars per incident. And what we uncover here is that thieves in this type of profile are targeting ATMs with high volumes of cash in a very quiet area, low pedestrian traffic, in an external building. It's not close to authorities, and it's accessible in the night time, and it's dark. And these were the profiles that were built for BAM raids. And so in when we need to profile the ATMs we have in our network, we need to look at all the ATMs that have been targeted and understand what their commonalities were. And so with Osprey, we can start to look at factors such as these, what's the proximity to the police? Do the ATMs have effective alarms on them? Is the CCTV, is there lighting? And all of these factors that we find create a profile that then allow us to determine which ATMs in our network are going to be targeted next by theft. So, which of our ATMs need CCTV? Can we improve the risk by, reducing the amount of cash held, improving the alarm systems, looking at the internal security of our environment? And then define the controls that we need. So determining the ATMs that meet that profile, we can then implement that controls. So it doesn't have to be across the board. So as an example, if we knew which types of ATMs were being attacked by gas attacks, we could perhaps determine that there's only a small percentage in our network that effectively are being targeted, and then implement our controls against those ATMs as opposed to all of them. This screen here gives you a bit of an idea on how the Osprey interface allows you, with an interface to Google Maps, to be able to understand where your ATMs are located and the risks that are faced with those ATMs. It also gives you the ability to have a look at the images and save all of the images relating to the ATM or the bank branch within this single facility. Now, by being able to pull all this information together, we can start to analyze the impact of our profiling and start to look at what our next factors of risk are. So do we have any new risks? What has been the success of what we've just done, and are there any changes to our system that need to be made? And once we've done that, we can start analyzing this. So we can start looking at information such as the risk scores related to perimeter lighting or your intrusion detection systems. And Osprey allows you to build all of that information together into a single view that really provides you an ability to make very, very quick decisions on what you need to do in terms of reducing risk and managing risk. The benefits of Profile are many. Effectively, we can assist with the reducing of the number of incidents because we can reduce the number of ATMs at risk. Your governance reporting will be greatly increased because Osprey is a fully automated real-time solution. So reducing the time to locate risks could also mean that we're reducing the number of incidents. Hopefully then we could meet your insurance reporting requirements with your insurers, and there is definitely a potential to reduce the number of staff in your team because a lot of the risk management and profiling is now being done automatically by the Osprey product. So it's also going to create internal documented standards, and it's going to save money. There are also many, many more benefits of using Osprey. There are more information on the Osprey Risk website. I'd ask you to please go and have a look at the brochures, or please contact Osprey Risk if you have any more information that you require. Thank you.